Hey guys, what's up? Ryan Hamer here. Hope all is well with you. And I know some of us are pretty excited that we are on our last day of 2016. So, some of the questions that I have for you are what are you doing? What are you doing, and how are you looking forward to the new year? What are your reflections on the new year? And as you enter your new year, have you done any self reflection? Have you done any journaling? Have you written down any thoughts or anything about how you're going to improve yourself for the new year? So, if you can hear me, just leave a message in the comment box so that I know that everything is working just fine. Sometimes with these live streams, there can be some delayed technical issues or what have you. So if you guys are good and you can hear me, great. Some of the things that we're going to talk about, some of the things I want to talk to you about are we're going to talk about negative people and how you have negative influencers in your life. Hopefully, you won't be taking them into 2017. Hopefully, you can drop them like the bad habit that they are. Also, what is going to be your theme song? What's going to be your mantra as you enter the new year? What are you going to tell yourself as you walk towards your purpose, as you walk towards your desired avenue of prosperity? So I want you guys to be successful, and I want you guys to be happier and better versions of yourself, and I want you to quit procrastinating. So a lot of times a lot of people wait for this particular day. They wait for January the 1st so that they can start doing something. There was a young lady on my timeline who lost over 100 pounds, and she said she had struggled with her weight for her whole life, as far back as she could remember. And she had her moment of clarity where she said, you know what? I need to make a change. And she went and she had some surgery, and she was able to drop 100 pounds. And I noticed when she was telling her story that she was a little hesitant, and she said, yes, this is what I did, and blah, blah, blah. And, a lot of people were encouraging her and saying, don't feel bad and because you went and got surgery. It's not the easy way out. It was very, very difficult for her to make that decision, to make the change. And that's where a lot of people get caught up with as well, is they make a decision to change their life or to better themselves, and they worry about the judgment of others. A lot of times we get caught up with wondering whether other people are going to be looking at what we're saying or what we're doing, and they allow other people's comments to dictate their actions, and you can't do that, and you shouldn't do that. When you do that, they contribute to the fear-limiting beliefs that I like to call it. You have fear-limiting comments. You have progression-limiting comments and attitudes from those around you. And what happens is they will hold you back, and they will stop you from moving forward. If you listen to everything that everyone else says, you're not going to get anywhere. And if you keep waiting for everyone to agree with you, you're not going to get anywhere either. So I was really proud of this young lady who made the courageous attempt to change her life. And that decision was for no one else, it was for her. And we often get caught up in situations where we're waiting for somebody else to say, yeah, I agree with you, go ahead and do that. And once you realize that the only voice that you need to listen to is your own, that's when you're going to start making strides and walking forward. You're going to stop crawling, you're going to start walking, and then soon you're going to start running and sprinting, and you're going to move closer and closer to your purpose and your goal. Another thing that is really important is, do you hear the hate? And if you hear the hate, where is it coming from? Is it coming from inside of you? Is it inside your head? Are you listening to outside influences? Are you listening to friends? Are you listening to family? Are they the ones that are telling you know what, you can't do this, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that? Don't listen to people around you all the time. Unless they're encouraging you, then tune them out. You need to hear positive reinforcement, and positive reinforcement begins with yourself. So are you journaling? Are you writing down your goals? Are you writing down your aspirations, things that you want to achieve in the new year? Did you do any of that last year? If not, why not? This year is yours for the taking. You can't wait for certain benchmarks. You can't wait for January the 1st. You can't wait for Valentine's Day to show your partner how much you love them and you care about them. Love is 365 days a year. And it's just the same thing with your attitude. You can't wait for what I like to call your RBM, which is your rock bottom moment. But we all get there. We all have those rock bottom moments. And the rock bottom moment is when you fall from grace, or you fall from where you are perched up high, where you stumble. And, people will laugh at you. People may lose respect for you, whatever the case may be. But when you reach that point where there's no other way to go but up, that's when you recognize that your rock bottom moment forms the foundation from which you will push yourself up from and succeed. But only if you recognize it. Like some of you people out here hearing these words, you might not appreciate them. They might not stick to you. They might not speak to you. I decided to share one of my videos, not just on my timeline specifically. I decided to share one in this group because I see there's a lot of stuff going on in this group and a lot of people are talking about different things. And I wanted to spread some positivity and encourage some of you guys to aspire to greater heights. And I want to inspire some of you guys to break some of your fear chains. And a lot of times we have these chains, these fear chains that sort of engulf us, hold us down, hold us back, and prevent us from doing what we want to do because we're afraid. We're afraid of failure. We're afraid of rejection. We're afraid of laughter, other people laughing at us. And I hope that some of you can get the value out of this video. I'm not 6 feet tall. I'm not scantily clad. I don't have long, beautiful hair or anything like that. And I'm no Idris Elba. I don't have a fancy accent or anything like that. But I'm hoping you guys can see past that and recognize that there is a message within that could prove to be of great value to you. Should you heed it? Should you hear it? What are you doing for you? What are you doing for yourself? Are you expecting the universe, Jah, God, Yahweh, whichever supreme cosmic entity that you look up to open up a door for you? Or are you opening up your own door? What are you doing to improve yourself? Are you reading? Are you writing? In this day and age, you have the opportunity to learn just about anything. You can find the information online. You can go to YouTube. Heck, you can even walk into Chapters and find a book and sit down and read that book and learn from that book. Self-education is extremely powerful. There are many people in our nation that cannot afford to go to community college. They can't afford to go to university. They can't afford to go to, Ivy League schools, or they won't even get accepted. Whatever the case may be, you have the ability to teach yourself. And in this digital age where there's so much information around, there's so much to be inspired by, and there are so many stories that you could learn from and gain value from. And take those stories and feed them into your own soul and then change your life. You have the ability and the opportunity to do that, but only if you see it. A lot of people don't see things And a lot of people don't see the hills for the trees, and they don't recognize the opportunities that are there in front of them. They're there for them. I like to call it, I like to say that you need to have thick skin and you need to have an unlimited mindset. An unlimited mindset is a mindset that functions without limiting beliefs. When you allow the limited beliefs of others to influence your mindset, there is no way that you can progress. When you allow yourself to be caught up with negative thoughts and the fear of failure, you will never move forward. You have to knock out the cobwebs of doubt and recognize that, hey, I might not have a lot of money in my account. I might be in the lowest position at my job right now, but I aspire to do bigger things and I aspire to do greater things. Do you think that anyone who is in any high position of power or wealth or what have you, they never started out on the top? There are very few people in extremely high positions that were just handed stuff. Life doesn't work that way. I speak to a lot of internet marketers, and these are guys that make hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars a day, and even more so. And they always talk about how they had so much failure before they achieved any kind of success. So let me ask you a question. Within the last year, how much failure have you had? How much failure will you acknowledge? But more importantly, what have you learned from your failure? What lesson did it teach you? I like to say that failure is your friend. Failure is your friend. And sometimes we don't look at it like that. Well, a lot of times we don't look at failure as being our friend, but if you're successful only, there's no way that you're going to be able to understand or differentiate between the pits and the valleys and the obstacles that come in your way. For example, if you're driving to work every day and it's always smooth sailing, it's always sunny outside, it never rains, it never snows, there's never any ice on the roads, and there are no cars on the roads, no deers running in front of you, you never have to make a sudden break or stop, what do you think would happen if you've been driving for years and years and years and years and years, and then suddenly a deer runs in front of you? Or it snows, and then you're on the road driving and it suddenly snows in front of you. How are you to handle that? If you've had no experience, if you've never had an obstacle in front of you before, how do you handle that unforeseen circumstance? You wouldn't know what to do. So it's the same thing with life when it comes to being successful, when it comes to moving forward from an obstacle. You have to learn to pivot. You have to learn to work your way around a situation. Life is not going to be, as Sylvester Stallone said, it's not going to be unicorns and rainbows and all that stuff. Life throws you curves. And on your way to success, on your way to a better you have to recognize that there are dips and valleys in your road. And learning how to maneuver around them. Learning that if you trip, you must get up and continue moving forward. No one can look up to you if you can't look up to yourself. I think that we as individuals, we keep assuming that, my lucky break may come after tomorrow, or if I get more money. You got to stop saying if, and you got to start saying when. I worked in the sales environment for a very, very long time. We call it the assumptive close. So when you're speaking to somebody, what we will do for you, or what I've done for you here is, it's about packaging and positioning. And if you don't package and if you don't position your thoughts in an assumptive, successful manner, then all you're going to see are the obstacles in front of you. You will never see the success that you can have. An unlimited mindset will allow you to be open. Because if you've got tunnel vision and you're only focused on failure, you're only going to see that one road in front of you. You're not going to see that there are forks in the road. You're not going to see shortcuts. You're not going to recognize that there are alternative means of transportation to success. Who is your enemy? Is your enemy fear, or is your enemy success? Are you so comfortable being where you are right now that you fear putting in the hard work to move to the realm of success? Is your enemy your spouse? Are they giving you the support that you need? Is your enemy your boyfriend, girlfriend, partner? Do you feel that they are supporting you, or do you feel that they are holding you back? Do you feel that they encourage you, or do you feel that they do not? Do you even need their encouragement? Because at the end of the day, you will leave this world as you came in, alone. So, if you find a way to encourage yourself, you won't need that of anyone else. You won't need a crew, a posse, a bunch of people behind you blowing smoke in your direction. That won't be required, because you'll be able to step up and push yourself up and recognize that, hey, I can do it for myself. I have my own theme music, and I can push myself forward by myself. Just like some people can do bad all by themselves, you can do well for yourself, with yourself, by yourself. But understanding those that are around you and their role, everyone has a separate role to play as you move forward, and it's recognizing the roles of others. And you might come to the realization that the roles that you've given to people around you, they might not be as significant as you think they are. These people might not hold the golden keys, if you will. They might just be holding on to your coattails, but they're not really hopeful that you will move forward. You see, they're riding and holding on to your coattails, hoping that you fail. You never know. You just got to be aware of who's around you, but don't let who's around you affect which way you go, how long it takes you to get there. Recognize what is holding you back. Is it fear? Is it family? Is it friends? Or do you have jealous foes in the midst? Who are you competing against? If you aren't competing against anyone, who or what is holding you back? I don't want to be sitting here, December 31st, 2017, repeating the same stuff to you, and you're watching this video. This video isn't just applicable to December 31st, 2016. This same video can be replayed over and over and over again, 365 days a year, for you to get a pulse check, for you to get a mental reset, for you to recognize that there are these different things within your life that might be holding you back, or that might be sticking out, and you don't see it. Maybe sometimes when somebody else says something, that's when you recognize, well, oh, hey, yeah, he's right. I didn't see it that way. And a lot of times, we're afraid to be like a snake. A snake sheds its skin. And as you enter the new year, I will ask each and every one of you, what are you shedding? Who are you shedding? Are you shedding people? Are you shedding fears? Are you shedding negative beliefs? Are you shedding negative attitudes? And what are your goals? What are you thankful for? And have you accepted an attitude of gratitude? Will you be going into the next year with an attitude of gratitude? Yes, thankfully I've made it into another year, but let's make this new year count. Let's make this new year count. If you are in a friendship, if you are in a marriage, if you are in a relationship, there's nothing wrong with doing a pulse check. There is nothing wrong with making sure that you and that other person are on the same page, that you agree with one another, that you have the same visions, aspirations, thoughts about money. Did you know that money is one of the biggest issues for couples? You know, they don't see eye to eye with respect to money, and a lot of arguments and stuff like that. And you know, money is one of the biggest reasons of divorce, not infidelity, like a lot of people think. There's a lot of conflict when it comes to money, and what are you going to do to mitigate that conflict going forward, if you do have that conflict within your relationship? And maybe your issue isn't about money. Maybe it's about communication. Maybe you and your partner are not communicating. Worse yet, you're both communicating, but neither of you are listening. Neither of you hear one another. So maybe that's something that you want to work on in the future. Both of you got good jobs. Both of you work, have money, get money, save money, but neither of you talk. What about situations where you'll have one partner that makes more money than the other partner? I've often heard, and I see this come about, where especially men, men kind of like it's a man thing. It's a man thing where they, the machismo rather, where they feel like they need to provide, as far as they need to be making more money than the female or the partner, what have you. You know what? As long as you two come together, as long as you two respect each other, as long as you two listen to one another, it shouldn't matter whether the female makes more money, whether the male makes more money. As long as both of you are holding your weight, it's not always about the money. Because I'll tell you right now, if you're a woman and you make more money than your partner, don't belittle him. Don't make him feel like less of a person. On the other side of the same coin, as a man, you should not feel like less of a person if your partner makes more money than you and you are gainfully employed and you're working. It's a situation of circumstance. What's most important is that you two come together and you work together. Don't let it become about ego or attitude. I've seen that happen so many times, where some men can ruin a perfectly wonderful relationship because of their attitudes with respect to money. They function within 2016 with a 1916 attitude and mindset. It's not just a man's world anymore. Life, situations, and circumstances change, where you'll have partners that will have jobs that are paying them more than their counterparts. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's about how you treat each other with respect to money. It's not about how much money comes into the house. And man, you don't have to storm out of the house. And you also don't have to abuse a person that makes more money than you. We talk a lot about, there's a thing called elder abuse, where kids will move back home, live with their parents, and they'll be taking money out of their parents' accounts and stuff like that. There's also financial spouse abuse, or financial abuse when it comes to a relationship, where there'll be a giver and there'll be a taker. And on the other side of the same argument, it's never fair for one partner to just take from the other partner and not give anything in return financially, or not even put in an effort to work to contribute money to the pot. And you can't be surprised when the person who's doing all the giving, they have what we call a saturation point, their boiling point. or the, what do they say, come to Jesus moment, where they have their epiphany and they recognize, well, hey, I'm the one putting in all the work here. I'm the one doing all the work here. I don't feel like there's enough reciprocity here. I'm not getting what I need in return. And that is where you'll have an issue. So while I say yes, you can have those relationships and they work and everything, I do not condone when one person is taking advantage of the other person. And that goes for women too. If you've got a man that is working really, really hard and you've got kids together, I understand that you're staying at home taking care of the family. If that's the kind of dynamic that you guys have set up, fine, that's one thing. But when you can't wait for him to come home with the paycheck so you can get your nails done and you can get your hair done, and that's all the focus there is, and you're not nurturing him, you're not giving him with any value. And I'm not talking about just the physical. I'm talking about there are other things. There's more nutrients to a man's soil and soul than just water, right? So there's more than just the obvious. Don't think that that's just enough to get by. So we talked about shedding, who, shedding what, and how are you going to shed? Is it procrastination that you're going to shed? What is it that you're going to relieve yourself of before you can move into the next phase? And people talk about a New Year's resolution. Let's talk about the term New Year's resolution. What's a resolution? Yeah, I promise I'm going to do this. I'm going to lose 5 pounds, or I'm going to stop eating chips. Don't say it, do it. Be about it. And it can't be a resolution. I think it should be a revolution. You need to have a mental revolution within your head. You need to be inspired. You need to make it happen within your head before you can make it happen physically. So if you need to start writing every day, whether it's you take 5 minutes out of your day and you write down what it is you want to achieve for that day, keep doing that. If you have one thing that you want to achieve, say whatever your goal is, take time and write that down. Write that down, write that down, write that down. Make sure that's important to you. Take that and do it every day. Do it every day for 30 days. Because what you will be doing is you'll be planting a seed subconsciously, which will then germinate within your being, and you will manifest that into being, into reality. It's true. If you don't believe me, if you think you have to see it to believe it, what about electricity? I don't have to tell you. I can't show you. I don't have to show you that if you take this fork and you go to the wall socket and you stick your hand holding onto that fork into that wall socket, that you won't get shocked. I don't have to tell you that. I don't have to show you that. You know it'll happen. If somebody puts duct tape all over your mouth and all over your nose, I don't have to tell you that will be problematic for you, because you need air, that which you can't see. Sometimes we are all doubting Thomases, where if we don't see something, we won't believe it. And it's the same thing with positive reinforcement. It's the same thing with the repeating things to yourself, writing it down, making it so, making it real. Because your subconscious and your conscious mind can't tell the difference between reality, and what will happen is it'll go deep into your subconscious, and your subconscious will work in the background when you're doing something else. So, prime example of that is if you were to sit down and have a certain song playing in the background every day, same song playing in the background, the lyrics and everything, every day, for 30 days straight, I guarantee that you would eventually know the lyrics. Even if you didn't repeat them out loud, but it was playing in your mind, you heard it. because what it does, it's setting the framework. And once it sets the framework and the foundation for you, your mind will just absorb it. Your psyche will just absorb it. And you know that resonates with you, and the vibrations come inside you, and then you end up singing the song. And you didn't even realize it. You're driving to work or you're walking somewhere. Next thing you know, you're singing the song with the lyrics, and you didn't even know. But it's like, think of a jar of sand. If you pour water into that sand, the sand will absorb that water. The water's not lost. So it's the same thing. If you pour positive thoughts into your mind, if you repeat the same thing, the same goal, same dream, the same aspiration, what it is that you want, if you do that, what will happen is it will materialize. It will become that which you want it to be. So my whole purpose for sharing this video with you guys is I want you guys to recognize your own potential. I want you to recognize your own potential. I want you to know your worth. I want you to see that there is so much more that you can achieve. And if you're sitting on the fence of fear right now, you need to get off that fence. And you need to find your own ledge. I can't find your ledge for you. All I can tell you is that every person watching this video right now has their own individual ledge. And you can't be afraid to perch on that ledge. You can't be afraid to hopscotch on that ledge or walk on that ledge. It's your own ledge. It's not my ledge. It's your own ledge. And that ledge can be as high as a curb, or it can be as high as a story. I don't know your depth perception. And that's something that you got to recognize. That's something that you got to realize. But all the things that I've mentioned today, they're all important. They're all related. They're all interconnected. And the sooner you recognize what your purpose is, where your purpose is, and the steps that you are going to take to find your purpose, the better off you will be. Right now, you know, we all record videos at different times of the day or what have you. I understand. It's the last day of the year. And you could be anywhere else right now, but you're listening to me. And I'm just trying to open up your eyes, trying to open up your third eye, trying to open up your heart, and hopefully you've gotten some value out of this. I also want to repeat something that I've mentioned before, that when someone can't handle your truth, a lot of times people don't want to talk and they don't want to communicate. And when you tell someone something and they don't handle it well, just remember that when someone can't handle your truth, it's their guilt and their anger that manifests into an argument at a future time. Or not even just at a future time, perhaps at that time. Don't be confused by shiny objects of distraction. If you have a focus for the new year, don't let anything distract you from that. Just work your way towards that goal. There are too many shiny objects out there that can distract you, whether it be people, whether it be situations. And don't use situations as an excuse as to why you can't get to where you need to get to. Achieve your goal. You know, we use somebody's passing, as painful as it may be, we use that as an excuse as to why we started drinking, or we started smoking, or we started eating more. But we don't use ourselves as the trigger as to why we should stop. Does that make any sense to y'all? Why are you going to allow someone else who is not even here with you anymore, they can't even help you? You can't use someone else's passing as a crutch, as a coping mechanism, as an excuse as to why you can't move forward. Don't let that happen to you. Too many people get caught up. Well, they start hanging out with the wrong crowd, or they start going out with their girlfriend, or they start going out with their boys, or they start drinking, or they start smoking, or they start picking up habits. What are your habits? Why do you have them? Why can't you replace your negative habits with positive habits? Remember, people talk about how hard it is. People talk about how hard it is to do this or how hard it is to do that. Remember, you play a song in the background for 30 days, 60 days, you're going to learn the lyrics. And that's just in the background on autopilot. Something to consider. As you usher in the new year, don't hesitate. Don't delay. Become a better you today. Don't wait for something to happen. Don't wait for a change of convenience. A change of convenience is, well, it's New Year's, so it's convenient for me to change. Or I'm going to speak it. I'm going to say that I'm going to change. I'm going to try. I'm going to try. Don't be that type of person who only jumps on the bandwagon out of convenience. Don't be a follower because Lisa is going to lose some weight this year, so I'm going to lose some weight this year. Don't do it to follow Lisa. Do it for yourself. Be a leader, not a follower. Something that I always say. Do for yourself before you try to follow someone else and do to keep up with them. Because what's going to happen if you follow that other person and lose weight? And like most people that sign up for gym memberships on January the 1st, they fall off before February. So if she falls off, what are you going to do? Are you going to still continue and move forward? Or are you going to fall off too? Well, you followed her to begin with, so you might as well follow her as she falls off too. And I know a lot of men entering the new year, with respect to relationships, it's always funny. Because as the weather gets warmer, men tend to shed themselves of their relationships so that they can be free and happy in the summer. And then as it gets colder and colder, women tend to look around for someone to hold them and keep them warm throughout the winter. Not saying that's every case, but people do things out of comfort, out of convenience, out of a perceived necessity. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's right, doesn't mean that it works, but it's just the way that it is. A lot of times it's human nature. And people don't even realize what they are doing, but they do it. So you end up in these relationships, and people end up in these relationships, these toxic relationships, these unhappy relationships. And when you're in these unhappy and toxic relationships, you want to sort of cut free, break the ties that bind, but you don't know how. Why are you attracted to this person? Why am I even still with this person? Well, I like to say you get what you get an EN, you get an emotional. You get emotionally connected to that individual. And when you're emotionally connected to that individual, they sometimes take up residence in your psyche. And then you constantly hear their voice. Because when you try to leave in your mind, you hear their voice in your mind. So it's hard for the body to follow if your mind is held captive and prisoner by that other person. And so you keep going back to that person, even though the relationship is toxic, it's not healthy, and you want to move on, and you want to be treated better, you want to feel better about yourself, but you don't feel better about yourself, and you can't feel better about yourself because you won't move away from that individual. You've got to break some of these cycles that we constantly end up in. And I want better for you, and I want better for you. First, I wanted to entitle this video like "You versus You," because it's a lot of times we are fighting this battle with ourselves. A lot of times we don't see that it's us versus us. It's me versus me. You are your greatest enemy. You're also your greatest mentor. I can say these things. I can, give you all these words of wisdoms and stuff, and you can replay this in your head, but if you do not believe, if you do not glean the golden nuggets from this video, if you can't find the value in it, I can't force you to see what you need to see for yourself. I can't force you to be a better you. That's your job. That's not your partner's job. That's not your friend's job. It's not your parents' job. It's not your boss's job. It is your job. It's not January the 1st's job. Just because it's a new year doesn't mean everything is going to change, especially right away. You have to make that effort. And it begins with finding your own sense of purpose. Of all the things that I've mentioned here, what is your purpose going into 2017? Have you set a goal? Is there somewhere you'd like to be? Is there someone you'd like to be with? Is there someone you'd like to be without? Do you want to be a better parent? Do you want to be a better husband, a better wife, better employee? Do you want to become an entrepreneur? What is the goal that you've set for yourself? How are you going to get there? Are you going to get there? Are you going to be paralyzed by fear? That is the question. And what are you going to do about it? How? What do you see? Where do you see yourself going from this moment? So right now, I've illuminated so many different possibilities and so many different things. I've touched on, it's been a quagmire of a litany of issues and things that I've mentioned. One of these things must or may stick out to you. And if anything has stuck out to you, I hope you truly do see and find the value and the purpose in it. And you can apply it to your life. You can apply it to your vision. When you make your vision board for 2017, what will be on that vision board? What are some of your dreams? What are some of your goals? What are some of your aspirations for the new year? The choice is yours. Make your own path. Are you going to adopt in the new year? Are you going to adopt an attitude of gratitude, an attitude of abundance, an attitude of generosity? Are you going to be thankful for what you have, but unsatisfied with the effort that you put in the year before? And so you're going to push yourself to move forward. Ask yourself, what kind of attitude are you going to adopt? Do better for yourself. Because you know what? At the end of the day, you can't expect from your partner. You can't expect from your children. You can only expect from yourself. Work on yourself. Work on polishing and brightening your own light. And once you do that, everything will come. Others will gravitate towards you. Opportunities will move towards you. But it begins with the right attitude, because a lot of people don't have the right attitude. And I'm not trying to repeat myself here, but a lot of people don't have the right attitude when it comes to working on themselves. And I just hope that some of you watching this right now will find value in it. Please feel free to like this video. Please feel free to share this video, rewatch this video, and check me out for more videos in the new year. I hope to spread some more positivity out there, and I hope you got some value out of this. My name is Ryan Hamer, and please feel free to leave your comments. I'd love to hear your feedback. Thanks so much, and again, be kind to each other, but more importantly, be kind to yourself, and recognize that the power that you have within you is so strong, and only you can make the change. No one else can do it for you. Not your partner, not your spouse. All of us around you can only influence you. It's a matter of you making the decision. You taking the chance on yourself. You've taken the chance on so many other things. What are you going to do for yourself? What is it that you're going to drop? What is it you're going to shed? What is it you're going to quit? What is it that you are going to do? How many steps are you going to climb? How much further are you going to go in the new year? Recognize your limitations. Recognize your aspirations. And don't restrict yourself. You can do it. Remember, you're in total control. No one else can do it for you. Again, my name is Ryan Hamer, and I appreciate your time.